Pumbaa, which is actually one of my wife's pet names
For you?
for her.
Oh,
Yeah, no, for her. I call her Pumbaa, and
romance.
she does not like it.
They say that making friends as an adult is hard, and for a man, it's almost impossible. But this next guy has proved to be the exception to that rule. There are a few people that I have clicked with immediately and as tightly with in my life as this guy, Rusty. And in this episode, we talk about being a Disney dad and taking your kids to Disney World. They've recently gotten back from a trip. We discuss the good and the bad of having your children with you when you experience the happiest place on earth. And we end the podcast with a conversation on what might be the most underrated and best Disney movie of all time. So stay tuned.
All right. Well, Rusty, it's good to have you here. You and your family, you just got back pretty recently from a trip to Disney. Is that right?
Yeah, within the last 30 days. So I just, in fact, this morning got my notification from the My Disney Experience app saying that I needed to download all my pictures or I would lose them. So
Oh.
all of our fun little magic pictures with Groot and Flounder and, just all of the magic that comes with Disney.
So you fell for the photo pass scam?
Oh yeah, we're suckers for it. We like the pictures. I especially like not having to take them myself, and having to stop somebody. Hey, would you do this? There's just people walking around in vests that look like they're on a very Disney-esque safari, and they're like, "Hey, I'll take your picture now. Put your hand out, and it's gonna be magic." And then they put Sebastian there. I don't know why I'm Little Mermaid themed today. I guess just that's I saw the new Little Mermaid movie recently, and yeah, and it's what dreams are made of. So I guess it's just on my mind.
Well, let's put a pin in this Disney trip. How was the new Little Mermaid?
Oh, it was fantastic. So this is you want to talk about being a Disney dad.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I have been clamoring for the last month to see The Flash, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge DC comic book guy, and there's two Batmen in The Flash. Technically, there's more than that, but I don't want to spoil anything. But it did not do real great in the theaters. And my kids aren't super into superheroes, but it was Father's Day, and I was like, we're going to church, and then we're going to go get lunch, and then we're going to go see The Flash. And my daughters were like, no, we want to go see the new Little Mermaid movie. And it was like, yeah, but it's Father's Day. And they were like, what a better way to spend Father's Day than watching the movie your children want to watch. And so I am a sucker for musicals, and David Diggs is the new Sebastian for a generation, and it was pretty awesome hearing Lafayette from Hamilton sing "Kiss the Girl" and "Under the Sea." So I loved it. I really enjoyed it.
Well, my children do not want to see it at all, and I was a little bit worried I was raising bigots. But it turns out
Yeah,
Adeline was so upset by the picture of Flounder being that real fish and not the. She said, "No, we are not."
yeah. Here's the good news. Here's the good news. Flounder is not as prominent in this one as he was in the animated one, and for good reason, because he Jimmy Fallon had this thing when he does his thank you notes, thank you, Flounder from the new Little Mermaid, of validating all of us who see a picture on Tinder only to show up to the date to find out that they are not what they appear to be. So it
Well,
was
that's great.
yeah, he looks like he's in some sort of state of decay
Mm.
throughout the movie. And I think it's supposed to be hair, but it looks like it's just pieces of him flaking off. And
Yeah.
so um went and got seafood afterwards
Oh,
in his
nice.
honor. So yeah.
Well, I'm sure we'll catch that on Disney Plus when it comes out.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's a good watch. It's a good watch. A little long,
yeah.
for Little Mermaid. I mean, we all know the story, but it was still good. I liked it.
Well, if you said David Diggs, is that the guy's name? That's
David
Sebastian.
Diggs, yeah, he is Sebastian, and he nails it.
Yeah.
And I have to say, Scuttle plays way more of a role. And Scuttle, they did the whole gender swap thing. Instead of being a old Jewish guy voicing him, it is now a Asian female. Aquafina, and she kills it. She stole every scene she was in. They added a new song called Scuttlebutt, which is might be the best song on the whole soundtrack. Which yes, I've listened to all the way through multiple times.
Oh wow. Did you see the live action Little Mermaid play that was on Disney Plus?
I did not. Am I
Oh.
missing anything?
Well, I was going to ask if you had to compare David Diggs against Shaggy, who played Sebastian the Crab in the play.
You talking about like
It wasn't
Shark,
me.
Mr. Lava Lava, that guy?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess that Shaggy didn't do as good a job as David Diggs.
Well, I'm probably so. I was very disappointed because my kids did not know who that was. But if anybody's listening, I would love a biography of Shaggy to go from that Mr. Love from when I was in middle school
Yes.
to somehow, the It Wasn't Me song, and then Disney Sebastian the Crab. I don't. It's quite a trajectory. So
Yeah, Shaggy is so interesting because his voice sounds like he's got a bubble in his throat that he just needs to, and get rid of. Well, it all sounds like this the whole time he's talking.
that's very yeah. He was
Yeah,
an excellent crab. So
yeah, well, I bet so. It sounds like he was underwater.
yeah, well, it was perfect. So my kids also don't think a big fan of that play. I think they like the original and also the Little Mermaid 2, which is a thing apparently. So
Yeah, where it's like uh she looks like Ariel, but with Eric's hair.
you are a better Disney dad than me because I have not seen Little Mermaid 2. I could not
I
make it
well,
through.
okay. I've seen the trailer. I've not dived all the way in yet.
There's
There's
apparently
my
3 Cinderellas as well. So
Mhm.
the direct to video market really blew up with Disney Plus. All the old hits in quotes are on there. So
Yeah. I missed a lot of those and I'm perfectly content with that.
yeah, missed is an interesting word because I don't think there was a lot going on. So let's get back from that and let's talk about this trip. So
That's good.
what'd y'all do? Did you go to all the parks?
So we did not. We were there for a total of 6 days. One of those really being just travel.
Oh yeah.
And then we hit Magic Kingdom on Monday, and then we hit Epcot on Tuesday. Then we took a break day on Wednesday to just hang out at the pool and go to Disney Springs and take some naps. Thursday we went to Hollywood Studios, and then we finished out the week on Friday once again at Magic Kingdom.
Oh, you did.
We bookended it.
Well, you made the best decision going to Magic Kingdom twice and skipping Animal Kingdom. And I know people get upset when I say that, but it's not my favorite.
You know what? Here's my hot take. You could euthanize every animal in Animal Kingdom and I wouldn't care.
That is a hot take.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. Okay. I love animals. I got both of my dogs sitting at my feet right now. No, Animal Kingdom was the first time we took a family trip to Disney. Animal Kingdom is where all hell broke loose, and it ended with both of my children crying and me screaming at them that they were ruining our vacation because they wouldn't smile for our pictures. And my wife lovingly took me aside, and this is not usually the dynamic. Usually the dynamic is me taking her aside and being like, hey, I think maybe you have too high of expectations for our children.
We've met. Yes, I'm aware.
Yeah. And she took me aside and was just lovingly like, hey, so this is supposed to be fun and they're tired and it's hot and maybe you're expecting too much out of them. But all I could see was the dollar signs that were being wasted by having to leave early because Lorelai was tired.
So this is some good Disney dad action. That's some honest truth. So you're not just some punk off the street. You've taken these kids before.
Yes.
Yeah. That's our second trip as a family. We have the video of Lily just, I think it's mid-June, just face down on the concrete in front of the Chinese theater at Hollywood Studios, just screaming, but face down on the hot concrete, just gave up, and people in their little scooters riding by staring. And
Okay. So let's talk about the scooters here for a second because I'm gonna be I probably need to censor myself a little bit for this podcast. I'm guessing this is
okay.
So what I refer to the because they are everywhere, and so many of these people aren't disabled. They can walk. They're just and so I am very it makes Leah uncomfortable, but also laugh hysterically when I say this because that's so unlike me. But the amount of people, I almost got my foot run over by one of these people, and they shouldn't be allowed at Disney. I'm going to go out and say it. If you need a rascal and you're not actually disabled, you're just lazy, then you just shouldn't go to Disney.
Are you saying there should be some kind of walkway test to the rascals, and if they pass that, they're not allowed to get on the rascal?
Absolutely,
We tricked
absolutely.
you.
Yep,
Step in,
yep.
Fatsy.
I totally think that. I mean, Disney is wised up to it because it used to be, I guess, that if you were on one of those, they were like, "Oh, you poor person, let's get you to the front of the line."
Oh, yeah.
And then you had these people that were like, "Oh, this is a quick way to bypass the fast pass / Genie Plus system."
Right.
And Disney, Mickey Mouse finally was like, not anymore.
Yeah, that's a good call. I think there was a lot of complaining where people, they rode the cart up to the front and did, the little cartwheel onto the ride. Like, thanks, suckers.
Yeah. They step off and they're, perfectly fine to ride rock and roller coaster, but they can't walk the 100 feet from, the gate to the line.
So you skipped the Animal Kingdom. Have you been to Pandora before? Did you get to
we went, yes, and it was really cool. I would have loved to have been there at night because seeing it all lit up, but alas, my children could not make it. But we have some good friends that we have vicariously experienced it through them and their videos and pictures. But yeah, no, it's a really cool land, and assuming that Avatar continues to move forward as a series, which it looks like it will.
Sure.
It'll continue to build on that.
Boy, that I don't care for those movies in particular, but
oh, you mean Fern Gully?
Yeah, Fern Gully with Dances with Wolves all mixed
yes.
up, and they keep making
Dances with Fern Gully. I like it.
Billions of dollars, no characters, no memorable characters, no line of dialogue. But
no, I
6 hours of movie.
Sigourney Weaver. I mean, she's. I think her best days are behind her.
What's her name in the movie? You don't know. You're like, hey, there's Sigourney Weaver.
There's Sigourney Weaver. That's what I see her in every movie, though.
Oh, well, I mean, that's fair.
Even in Alien, it's just Sigourney Weaver to me.
She really does. Alien, Ghostbuster. She's in Avatar. She's really just a Star Wars away from.
Right. That's true. She's a sci-fi nerd at heart.
Yeah. So I'm sorry that you missed out on all that. This was the first year we went earlier this year, and we saw it at night, and it was pretty cool. That was my wife's big miss from years ago when we went. When it's also something about Animal Kingdom is where the breakdowns, I think, start, because that's Lily had a hard time there. She got on the Avatar ride and it scared her, and then you go outside and for some reason, just with the plants and all that, the heat is just unrelenting.
Yes, it's so what I have heard, and I don't know if this is true or not. This could just be bull, but I've been told that it's sort of all of the vegetation creates like a heat dome over that area, and it is so stinking hot, so stinking humid, and there's not a ton of places to get out of the heat like there are in the other parks. We did go and see when we were there 2 years ago, the live action Lion King show that they do.
It's good.
It's amazing. I'm not gonna lie, I cried, and I was. It took me by surprise that I was like openly weeping. My wife looked over at me and she was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "It's just brings up so much." And then
there's that marriage dynamic I'm used to hearing. Yeah,
that's right. Love me some Timon and Pumbaa.
Yeah.
Pumbaa, which is actually one of my wife's pet names.
For you?
For her. Yeah, no, for her. I call her Pumbaa.
Romance.
And she does not like it.
No, it doesn't. It's not very good. I miss you, Rusty. That's good stuff.
I miss you, man.
Well, so yeah, that's been my big complaint when I tell people Animal Kingdom, we went in January and it was warm, but we've been in June and it's unbearable and there's no shade. And it's my stupid American brain that I'm like, they did this because I feel like I'm in Asia or I'm in Africa. I'm just hot and uncomfortable. And that's it's how it's themed with these other countries and other continents. And I'm just like, this is how these people probably are. I just need
Well,
ice cream.
I'm going to push back on that. I think it was poor planning because look at Epcot. Epcot, you're supposed to be in all these different places, and there's plenty of places to get air conditioning.
That's fair. Yeah. Well, that's true. There is no like there's really no air conditioning, is there?
There's not. There's really no place to say I'm just going to duck in here for 5 minutes and get out of it. I mean the rides, the rides themselves, I guess, but that's not really what people go to Animal Kingdom for. I don't think.
We went to that kite show they had, and it's even worse. It's gone now, but they had just bleachers and no shade, and you're just out there in just the sun bearing down on you, and people are riding jet skis with kites, and we're just like, this is the worst experience of my life.
Well, good. I'm glad that the people on the kite jet skis are having a great time and are cooled off, but we're suffering down here.
It was rough. So I'm glad you skipped it. Animal Kingdom really is. I mean, that's the bread and butter Disney. That's where all the good stuff is. Well, not the good stuff, but the classic stuff.
Yeah, Magic Kingdom.
Do you have a favorite Magic Kingdom thing, ride, or area?
Yes, yeah, I do. I really, really like, and some people are going to think this is lame, but I really like the Ariel ride. And once again, going back to Little Mermaid, it's just on the nose. I've got a thing for redheads. It might be that. My wife, I've tried to buy her a wig, and she's not having it. Just a little redheaded wig, just to spice things up for us. And but she's not in it. So I like that one. And then I really, really enjoyed the laugh floor, the Monsters Inc. laugh floor. It was very entertaining, and I want to figure out how they do it so well to where clearly it's live. There are performers that I mean, I guess it's just computer technology has come such a long way imaging wise that just like now they could throw a filter over my face and it looks like Mike Wazowski. But it was very, very entertaining. I'd never done that one before, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we tried to do it this last time. That's one of the few things that this last trip we were doing things that weren't necessarily, our favorite things, but stuff that we've just never done. We were going for new experiences. And that one, we tried to go late at night, and you have to have, I think, 15 people or something like that in the room, or it's not a deal. And we could only scrounge up 8. So
we had a packed house when we were in there, and it was very fun because of all the crowd shots that they do and make fun of people, and it was very, very, it was very enjoyable. Now, I will say probably the ride I could ride all day long at Disney and never move from is the People Mover. I could sit on the People Mover for 12 straight hours and just ride around and be perfectly content.
Yeah. Was that running when you were there?
It was. Yeah, it was. So our first year at Disney was in the middle of COVID, and there was a lot of stuff shut down and not happening, character visits and things like that when we were there. So we tried to hit a lot of the things that we hadn't gotten to do the last time we went, which meant that we had to miss some other things. So much to my chagrin, the People Mover was one of those that we did not get to do. But I got to do Tron, which was fantastic.
Oh, did you really?
It was awesome.
Let's hear about that because it was not open when we were there.
Yeah. So my daughter has a sensory processing disorder, which Disney offers this really fantastic service for people who have certain disabilities. It was one of those things that I didn't even know about it until a friend of mine who has a daughter who is autistic just said, "Hey, do you know about this?" And you can do it online. You do an interview essentially with a cast member, and it's very very basic. They're not asking for documentation or anything like that. They just kind of talk through like, okay, so what do you need? What's kind of going on? And so we went in and talked to them, and they were like, yeah, so the way it works is you just have the person there, and they kind of talk to them for a minute, and then they help you figure out, would this be beneficial? And it essentially functions as a free Genie Plus system for families with people with disabilities. And so instead of having to pay for the Genie Plus, which we did before we got this, we had it every day because we didn't do this until the last day. But it's one of those where you don't wait in line only to find out that it's too much for your kid, and now you've wasted the last hour and a half. It functions as a fast pass. They do require that the person who has the disability actually be there with you going onto the ride. So it's not one of those where it's like, well, my kid doesn't want to ride this, but we've got this thing, so I'm going. They're pretty strict about that, which I think is good, because I think otherwise it could be abused. But my friend whose daughter's autistic, she wanted to ride Tron, but his other kids did not. This pass is good for up to 6 people. And so he was like, hey, come ride with us. And so we got to walk right on. It is a fantastic ride. It is probably my second favorite Disney ride, period.
Yeah.
My first favorite Disney ride, however, is Cosmic Rewind, Guardians of the Galaxy over at Epcot.
Oh, okay.
Oh my goodness, Paul, have you not ridden this yet?
No, I wrote it. Yeah.
Okay. It is. What song did you get? Because there's like 11 songs on rotation.
I don't remember. I think is there an Earth, Wind, and Fire?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it.
Leah got that one. I got to write it. I actually got to write it 3 times because we paid the extra $20 or whatever. I say we. Some other friends of ours, they gifted that to us. We started off with Disco Inferno, which was great.
That's a good one.
Then we had Tears for Fears, which was good. And then we had I'm Gonna Get You, which was not as great. But the song choice really makes a difference on that ride. But it was fantastic.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I'll be honest, and this is my hot take. It did not live up to the hype that everybody gave it. I loved it, but it had been one of those things that was just pushed and pushed and pushed, where the Rise of the Resistance lived up to every bit and more when I was on it. I loved Cosmic Rewind. I thought it was great, but this is what I've been hearing about for 2 years, and but it was a good time. And especially the night before, we had ridden Space Mountain, and we had been told this is what Space Mountain brought to you, 50 years ago, saying, hey, this was Space Mountain, and now this is like the next evolution of it. And Space Mountain now at my age, it's like a chiropractic adjustment, the jerkiness of it. And
I've still never ridden Space Mountain.
Well, you might have aged out of it, man. It's bad news.
Yeah, it is. That is, you want to talk about being a Disney dad. I mean, golly, the things that the teacups, I used to spinning around 150 RPMs, whatever, didn't bother me. And now I get off the teacups and I'm like, I need a minute. Before we get on anything else, I need a cup of water and I just need to sit down for a minute. And I've heard that it has something to do with your inner ear changing as you get older, and it's really humbling. But yeah, there are certain rides now that it's like, I might stay out of this one. And the ones that end up giving you back problems the next day, those are especially ones that I'm going to avoid.
Well, we were on the People Mover years ago, and we saw Space Mountain with the lights on, and it's terrifying how tight it is.
Oh, really?
Since then, I've been so scared, and it's a stupid fear, but that I'm going to hit my head, even though I'm just at 6 foot tall, and there's, tons of people taller than me that ride it every day, but I just tense up knowing how it's in such a small room, and it's just in and out. The tracks are just so tight. And
well, that's like that urban legend from living in Louisville. You remember the Star Chaser at Kentucky King?
Yeah.
Where, the urban legend was, oh, they got rid of it because somebody got decapitated on it, which is not true. I mean, it was,
it wrecked all the time, but no one ever
it,
lost a head.
yeah, right, right. But I kind of thought though, how crazy would that be if you're riding in the Star Chaser and the person in front of you's decapitated and their head just lands in your lap? I mean, you want to talk about like bad horror movie type scenario.
My kids do not like thrill rides under any circumstances, so they did not care for Slinky Dog at Hollywood Studios. It's too
It
fast,
was
too
it
hills.
was a 3 hour wait.
Oh yeah, every bit of it.
And my kids aren't roller coaster kids yet, and so we haven't even gotten to experience that. I've got to show you the picture. I've got wusses for kids in a lot of ways. My kids are tough and they're sweet, but they can be kind of wussy. And there's this picture of Lorelai on Haunted Mansion with my wife, and the face she is making is one of just pure anxiety. And then the best thing though is going back to Cosmic Rewind for a second. It's all, you can't see anything until you are on the ride. And even when you're on the ride, you really can't see any of the track or anything like that. It's so well, lit and shadowed. And my 4-year-old is riding with my wife. She gets on and she's paired up with her, and I'm paired up with my 8-year-old. And the way the ride starts is, they say this line that I think we went back, all the way back, and then you launch backwards at like 60 miles an hour. And so my daughter and wife were in the car behind us, and it's really loud, but through it all, there's like this sound cutting through that sounds like a shriek that I'm familiar with. And I cannot figure out if that's part of the ride or if it's my daughter. And so when the ride finally stops, my daughter is just in tears and hoarse, and my wife is trying not to laugh, but she's laughing because the whole time my 4-year-old was screaming, "No, make it stop!" And she did not enjoy it one bit. And my wife, she had some real internal struggle there, because it was like, so there was a lot of emotions happening because it was an amazing ride. I had this feeling of wanting to protect my child as a mother, but then also my child wasn't in any sort of danger. And the fact that she was losing her mind was kind of hilarious. And so I really didn't know how to respond. And if you know anything about my wife, when she's caught in different emotions, she freezes and just kind of watches things play out. And it's like, why didn't you do something? But in that scenario, literally there was nothing she could do.
So I'm glad you got to ride Tron. They were still building it. We were there in January, and we took the train around town and saw it, and it looked so cool. But it
is a great ride. I still don't. It took them like 2 years, 3 years to build this thing.
A while, yeah.
And here's the thing that I just recently learned. In the same time that it took Disney to put Tron together, Universal built a whole Mario Land, which I have heard is amazing. And now that I'm only like 2.5 hours away, I'll definitely go and visit it.
Well, here's the thing. It's not in California, or it's only in California right now.
Mario Land?
Yeah, they're building one in Orlando, but it is not there yet.
Man.
They're building a third park. So right now they have Universal Studios like Classic. Then they have I think it's Islands of Adventure, which is the second big park. And they're building a third. I can't think of what it's called now. My daughter would know. She's a real geek about this kind of thing. But they're building the Mario as part of the third park there. So it's like Epcot, Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios. Now it's Universal Studios, Isles of Adventure, third park. So
man, they are catching up.
Oh yeah, that's we went to we went to a church conference in 2019, and we stayed right across the street, and I had walked over there, and I was like, this is the last time I was at Universal Studios. You pulled up to where the globe ball is and went right in the front door, And now there's a whole city walk, and there's all those restaurants and bars, and then two parks, and it's gotten out of hand. So it's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
I've never been to Universal Studios, and I remember I was obsessed with Jaws as a kid. I mean, I'm still obsessed with Jaws. I really want to show it to my kids because I was about their age when I first saw it, and it terrified me, but also thrilled me. And I always wanted to ride the Jaws ride, which, if I understand correctly, no longer exists.
Correct, but it was amazing.
Yeah, I hope they bring it back, but I don't think that's
Well,
going to happen.
it was one of those things that my parents, we went like 3 summers in a row, I feel like, when I was a kid. And we went to Disney a few times, then we went to Universal Studios maybe once. But it was one of those rides that use real fire and things like that. So it's really,
Yeah.
you're actually out there in the water on a boat, and they're shooting fireballs, and it's very uncomfortable, but you're really, it's like the Jungle Cruise, except you really do feel in danger. So
Yeah.
it was pretty cool.
Yeah, past time our Jungle Cruise driver was he was a little strict. My daughter, she was uncomfortable where she was sitting, and so she just kind of like switched real fast, didn't even stand up really, just kind of did like that half squat move seat.
Right.
And he stopped his little show and scolded us and was
I've
like,
heard that before.
hey, cast member, can you tone it down a little bit? Like, you're supposed to be happy. And that is the thing that I have noticed. Like, cast members, there is no middle ground. They're either the happiest people you've ever met in your life and you enjoy their presence and would invite them over for coffee, or they are the most miserable people on the planet and hate their existence. And I don't know what there's no middle ground there. We didn't meet anybody that was just kind of okay. It was either they're miserable or they're fantastic.
That's amazing. I've never met a non-fantastic one inside the park. I've met a couple doing the screenings before you get in, and I can't imagine that job, but
yeah,
I get it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I totally get it. And I guess my thought is keep all the miserable people like behind the scenes jobs, give them the jobs where they don't have to interact with the guests. Right. I mean, listen, we all have to do things in our job that we don't like. And if part of your job is to be happy and pleasant, you're allowed an off day here and there. Sure. But if you're going to be the captain of one of the Jungle Cruise boats, you better be on your A game every day, because that's make or break territory.
Yeah, so many stand-ups I've heard in the past had that job, coming up because it helped them get attuned to, dying in front of a crowd and just bad jokes and just being able to. So you really need to be able to work with your crowd a little bit better. If you're, again, another job I could never have. I just the thought of doing that all day just hurts my soul. So not a lot of thrill rides then.
No, we kind of force them on our kids, and we've debated whether or not that's doing long-term damage to whether they'll still like roller coasters, or they'll grow up being like, no, my parents used to force me on these things, I hate them. But I refuse to have wusses for children.
That's good. It's bad enough we have girls that we can't make.
I know. And so my 8-year-old, she's doing pretty good with roller coasters, to where she'll say, well, that was a little bit fun. It was scary, but it was a little bit fun. So it's starting to creep in there a little bit.
I forgot how much I enjoyed roller coasters because our kids won't ride them. But the last time we went with friends, and we just watched each other wussy kids while we went on, what is the thing at Everest at Animal Kingdom? Like, we had ridden that in 15 years, and we got to ride all the, like, they wouldn't ride Big Thunder Mountain, and these aren't like crazy coasters. So that's what Universal Studios is more. I think there's more thrill rides, and there's more immersive kind of like screen things. I don't know if your kids are at a good age for that. There's like a
I think my kids are Harry Potter nerds.
They would love it then, I guess.
Yeah, so I figure we'll take them to that. I am not a big Harry Potter guy.
No.
It's not that I don't. read the books, wonderful stories. It's just not my thing. I could never get excited about the magic wand battles. They
But you
look
like Star Wars.
That's different. Those they are magic sword wands, and so they're
It's the
actually.
same story. People, nerds in capes with their sticks, their magic sticks fighting.
How dare you? Uh, Star Wars is so much deeper and bigger and better, and Harry Potter is a nerdy British kid.
Well, if you go, make sure you have to get. This is just a tip for the day. You have to get a pass to both parks, like a park hopper,
I have
so you can
heard.
ride the train. Otherwise, you get
Oh,
there
okay, the Hogwarts train.
because you go from one Harry Potter park to the other Harry Potter park via the train, but you can't get on that train and ride it if you don't have tickets to the other park. So
Man, they really thought that out.
yeah, they're
They
doing good
they
stuff over there.
Yeah, you got to pay this extra $50 to what or however much it is. I'm
Well,
sure it's
yeah, lucky if it's $50. I don't know.
$150.
Wow. Yeah. We actually got the park. We went with our friends that are, she is a Disney planer and planned our trip. So,
Nice.
we had the pictures for the first time. We've never splurged on the photo pass, and we had the park hopper option that we haven't done in years because we stayed at the campgrounds instead of a hotel. So we saved a bunch of money by not being in a hotel.
So wait, you camped
We stayed
or
in
were
their
you?
RV with our
Oh,
neighbors.
okay. Okay, that's doable. That's doable. But I cannot imagine being at I see those people where they literally tent camp and
When I was little, we did that. I think I was 4 or 5 years old, and my
I would
parents.
I guess maybe if you're 4 or 5 years old, it wouldn't bother you. As an adult now, I can't think of any. I think I would rather have a root canal without anesthetic than stay in a tent after being at Disney all day long in the
Oh
summer.
yeah, listen,
I
we'll never go back in the summer. To be honest, we went in January and took the kids out of school for a week to go, so the crowds were lower and the best parenting idea we've ever had. We're like, the kids will learn; they're smart. They'll catch up
Yeah.
on this week of school, but we'll have better memories because it's not 1,000 degrees.
Oh yeah, I mean we're very pro taking kids out of school for adventures,
Mm-hmm.
uh, because I can't tell you. One time my mom took me out of school, and I mean she I guess I get it from her, but she picked me up early from school when I was in like the fifth grade, and she took me and a friend up to Cincinnati to watch the Cubs and the Reds play, and like I don't remember a thing that we learned in that on that day. But I remember going to that baseball game and the memories that we made, which I think are way more impactful than whatever Mrs. O'Brien had to say that day at
Shout out
Klondike.
Mrs. O'Brien. Yeah.
That's right. She was a good teacher though. I mean, she formed me into the man I am today. But no, I mean, I am all about taking my kids out of school, and now that we are Florida residents, we are eligible to get the annual pass,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very very affordable when you're living here, but it's kind of limited to weekdays.
Mm-hmm.
So that would mean like, okay, well, my kids aren't going to school this day and we're going to go to Disney instead. And I don't hate that idea even a little bit.
Yeah, that would be so cool. I've always said if we lived there, I would have a pass because, I work from home. You all would go to school and then I would go have a
Yeah.
day off. And then I'd tell you all about it when you got home.
That's right.
I would be
I
furious.
I do want to experience Disney Sans Kids
Yes.
because I've heard it's better.
I was going to bring it up. Well, I've only ever been Sans family entirely. So that
Oh
time
wow.
in 2019, actually went twice. I went with church. We drove down there to that conference, and then I flew home the next day, and I stayed, and I went to Magic Kingdom by myself.
Nice.
And I mean, I'm a weird Disney adult sort of, and I really enjoyed just being there. Not I love my family so much, you know me, and
Yep.
I love these kids, I love my wife, but it was nice to just do whatever you wanted to do. You
Right.
don't have to ride all the rides. You can just check everything out. And then I had another job there later that year, and I went to Hollywood Studios by myself, and it was the same deal. It's like, this is This is nice. We
Yeah.
want to go to Epcot, just an adult's time at Epcot, because that seems to be the grown-up park.
Yeah, we did that. I mean, we did it with kids. We did do the drinking around the world a little bit,
Whoa. In the summer
and
too. That's good job.
it was, I think I did 5 drinks over the course of a 9-hour day. And people, I mean, don't get me wrong, people get sloshed. But if you want to just do it so you can say you've done it, they do offer small sizes of the beers. And if you space it out, it really isn't bad. As long as you're eating, as long as you're staying hydrated. My whole thing was, this really, let's be honest, this Disney trip was for my kids. So what I don't want is for them to be like, well, Disney was ruined because mom and dad got trashed, which we saw. We saw lots of parents who were not parenting at all.
Oh, well, the people we went with, he was overserved before we got on Guardians the first time. And
oh, goodness.
He puked and rallied. It was over, and Addie was traumatized because she can't do roller coasters. And then he went off to the bathroom and threw up and was just back in the game.
Oh, man.
It was like a 4 or 5 ounce cup of wine that they just like almost filled up like a solo cup worth of wine. And like, here you go. I'm like, that's
a terrible idea.
This is something you serve. Okay.
Yeah. And my whole thing is, well, I got to make sure that I'm following this up with lots of water. I've got the ibuprofen with me because I will get a headache, and then my stomach will hurt, and I want to, I'm a pain, but I also want to enjoy myself.
Well, that's part of being a Disney dad, being an adult and knowing your limitations, that you're going to go there and you're going to bring your Tylenol, your ibuprofen. You've got some comfortable shoes on. You're not.
Absolutely. Yeah. Our kids are both able-bodied and can walk just fine, but we absolutely rent a stroller.
Yeah. Hey, hang on to those days like grim death, because once they're too big for the strollers, it's a haul for the little ones. So,
I mean, my 8-year-old could fit in it just fine, and she's small. But listen, if Peggy Sue from, West Virginia can ride around on a rascal in her 40s, then my 8-year-old can ride in a stroller, until she's 14. I don't care.
Be lucky your children are light, because Lily can ride in a stroller, but she's heavy. She's as heavy as Addie. So,
that's why you get the ones with the big wheels
I'm not pushing that kid to. It's like pushing a prowler workout through my 20,000 steps with this extra 60 pounds in the front of it. So,
well, I guess that's true. Yeah. I think my child might have something wrong with her legs, the way she talks about how she walks 100 steps and she's like, my legs hurt.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, shut up.
Well,
you're fine.
I eventually break down and put her on my shoulders, but I had her on my shoulders for the whole Magic Kingdom fireworks show. And it was, it's part of the reason that I try to exercise, because that child, she's pretty.
Oh, so let's talk about the fireworks for a second as a parent of somebody who has sensory processing disorder.
Oh, yeah.
So neither of my kids are firework fans, but my 4-year-old is mortified, and she thinks she's going to die if she hears fireworks. So we were trying to get out of the park before the fireworks show.
Smart.
And we were unsuccessful. And so it was like, okay, well, we want to hit Philharmonic before the end of the day. And we'd never done it, and it's air conditioned and it's inside and all of that. So it was like, all right, well, let's go hit that, and then we will try to leave. What I didn't know, because I'm still new to the game, is how much that park shuts down its traffic once they're setting up for the fireworks show.
Really?
Yeah, it is one of those where there are so many directions that you cannot go.
Right.
Once they get ready for that.
You mean in the park traffic, not like
in the park traffic. Yeah. So
it's awful.
we come out of the Philharmonic, which was fantastic.
It's Philhar
And
Magic, by the way.
Philharmonic. Oh,
Make it.
thank you.
Come on.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I told you I'm new at this. And they are, the music's coming on and they're talking about what, and so we know what's about to happen. And then that first big boom hits, and my 4-year-old hits the floor, and we are in dire straits. And they're trying to limit people where you can go. And so from the Philhar Magic end, we can see the Pinocchio restaurant attached to Small World.
Right.
And they're not letting anybody pass through. So I walk up to this cast member who was wonderful, and I was like, hey, listen, I know we're not supposed to go this way. I got a kid who's losing her mind because of these fireworks. I need to get in that building right there, or you're going to have to watch this for the next 25 minutes. And she was like, okay, yeah, come on through. And so we sat in that little restaurant area for the entirety of the fireworks show. They were already closed, but the wonderful people there gave us free slushies because that's all they had.
Nice.
And then my daughter peed her pants, and and so she peed all over herself, all over my wife, and it was a great end to the first day at Disney.
Day one. Nice.
That was day one.
That was not
yeah.
the Friday. That was the Monday.
No, it was not. That was Monday. So that just tells you how things were going to go. And I learned this little trick. So my friend who was with us, he interned at Disney. He did the college program when he was younger.
I always wanted to.
And he was like, well, here's the thing about this. So many of the people here are college interns and things like that. If you go up with authority and you're like, hey, I was a cast member, they're all of a sudden like, oh, well, then by all means, please go this way.
There's your unethical Disney tip of the day.
There you go. Just tell them, hey, I was a cast member. I know how this works. And they'll let you go where you want. Unless you get like the 50-year-old unmarried lady who loves Disney but hates people. Right. And then she's like, nope, not doing it. I don't care. I'm in charge here. Mickey Mouse dubbed me the queen of Magic Kingdom. So, go screw yourself.
Well, hey, so this is a future thing. If you go back, I don't know enough about your daughter about it. Would earplugs would that help at all?
They hurt her ears.
Oh, well, I was going to say, so we had the park hopper pass, and we went to the Magic Kingdom 3 different nights because during the fireworks, you were talking about that terrible traffic. It's all on Main Street in that middle area, like how it splits out into the park, but there's like the track around the outside of that, and you could ride almost everything with no wait because all the people are there for the fireworks, and we didn't stay for the fireworks. We walked around and rode everything without, a 5-minute wait or just walking.
I guess I'm just over fireworks. Growing up in Louisville, we had Thunder over Louisville. So I see the fireworks at Disney and everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. And I'm like, I've seen better.
Well,
and
that's what I say about Thunder, because the thing I like about the Disney fireworks is the theme, and it all kind of like fits together, where the fireworks at Thunder are amazing, but the theme is always just classic rock set to shuffle on someone's iPod.
But do they play Danger Zone at Magic Kingdom? No, they do not. No. They do not play that Kenny Loggins classic, Highway to the They don't play it, and it's not Thunder over Louisville unless you have Danger Zone.
Well, next time I'm at Disney, I'm putting Danger Zone on the in the headphones, and I'm watching.
You should.
With new
It'll
eyes.
change your life.
So I do know that you like Star Wars. Did you get to do all the cool stuff at Hollywood Studios?
We did not get to do all of it. We ran out of time. Once again, we were trying to hit the things that weren't open the last time we went. And so that meant a lot of character meetups and a lot of the shows. My 4-year-old is obsessed with Chewbacca.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely adores Chewbacca, thinks Chewbacca is the closest thing to Jesus that she's met in person. And they have an opportunity to meet Chewbacca. And that's where the picture pass, the photo pass was worth every cent, because she walks in, and it's it's a pretty tall character.
Oh yeah,
And
he's a
my
Wookiee.
4-year-old is a 4-year-old. She's
Right.
small, and she is just. I mean, I've never seen her happier than
Oh,
she's just looking up at Baca. That's what she calls him, Baca, and gives him a big hug, and she is just beaming. And so that was a lot of fun. We got to do Smuggler's Run, which was awesome. I got to be on guns this time.
oh man, I was
Uh,
engineer. Thumbs down.
yeah, I was engineer my first time, and then this time I got to be guns. Um, and then we tried to hit Rise of Resistance, but it was so packed.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be such a long wait, and we even with our Genie Plus, it was still going to be like 4 hours
Mhm.
before we could get to it next, and it was just like, we did it last time we were here. Yes, it's fantastic. I think our kids had already been, they were already wary of any rides. We were like, oh no, you'll love it. Because we told them that about Guardians. And so it was like, I loved Rise of Resistance. You loved Rise of Resistance. I don't know that wouldn't kill the rest of the day anyways.
Right.
Um, I did, however, get to finally see, with a caveat, the Indiana Jones show.
Oh, nice. It's good.
So here's the thing. I first learned about that thing from an episode of Full House.
Yeah.
Sure, a lot of people learned about it that way. And I was so excited that it was finally open again, because it wasn't when we were there the first time, only to experience it in a truncated form, because it was storming.
Oh,
And they were like, well, because of the lightning, we are not allowed to move certain things around, and so you're going to see a modified version of this. We only saw the first scene with from Raiders of the Lost Ark, and after that it was over.
I'm
And
sorry, man.
yeah,
It's a
so
good show. I was
I, I'm
surprised.
I'm gonna have to go back and see it, in its totality. And from there, we traipsed through the rain to the Anna and Elsa sing along, which was actually really
Is
fun.
that the one
The
with the bubbles that come down like it's
Yeah,
snowing?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
It was
pretty cool.
great. We
Or it
we
snows.
we
It's
had a
actual snow.
yeah. At the end, it is snow, and I was I was a little disappointed with how, you hear sing along with Anna and Elsa, and you're like, oh, they're going to be there, cool. And really, you're just watching the movie. You've got
Right.
like these two presenters with their canned jokes or whatever, and they're fun. They're great. But then you're just watching Frozen, and it's not until the very end really that the characters come out. Which maybe that's the point, it's all the build up, but I would
Yeah.
have preferred it to be like, hey, let's actually sing along with them.
Well, who other than Chewbacca did your kids love meeting?
They loved meeting Rapunzel, so they got to meet Rapunzel. They got to meet Tiana, which is my favorite Disney princess.
Oh, very cool.
And who else did we meet? Met Minnie Mouse, of course. They are, especially Gemma. My 4-year-old is a huge Minnie Mouse fan. So she got to meet Minnie Mouse, Donald, Daisy, Mickey, Goofy, Pluto. We got to meet that whole crew. And then the parade, we didn't get to meet them, but we saw, I think, every single character in the park during one of the parades at Magic Kingdom, which I'd never seen and was really, really cool. I
Yeah.
really, and
We
I'm typically not a parade guy.
no, I don't love it because I get into this mode where I'm like, where I do what you do, where you start seeing, well, this is 15 minutes. Do you know how much this 15 minutes is costing us to watch this parade? We've got to
Yeah.
get experiences. And like, this is an experience, idiot. Yes, you are correct. I apologize. I will take it all in. So this last trip, I was more, you know, I kind of turned a blind eye to what we were doing because, we saved the money on the hotel, and I'm sure we spent twice that doing other things that I would normally have just gone, wait, don't tell me how much this is. This is fun. We had a
Yeah.
character breakfast, and
Nice.
I can't imagine the cost on that per person. And it was really
That's
good.
why that's why you just you hand that responsibility off to somebody else. Just
I did.
you take care of that.
I was like, you book this trip and you tell my wife and she will pay you, and I can't even I mean,
Yeah.
it was at the Riviera at the restaurant there. So I was like, this is just
Oh,
absurd. But
wow.
then like Mickey and Minnie, and I got to meet Donald. He's my favorite. He came to the table. So I'm like, this is, I mean, I feel bad as a parent that we did not splurge on that when my kids were younger,
Yeah.
because my oldest is 11 and was like, this is fun. But the people we were with have kids that are 7 and under, and they were just blown away that, oh, they're here and they're talking to us, and
Yeah.
just
Well,
hustling
do
around
they
town.
actually, I mean, do they have the ones that actually talk for those
No,
or
no,
okay.
they could,
Because it's just all the hand motions and stuff like that.
but they come over and like the one of them. I mean, Daisy Duck stuck her fingers in the boy's ear. It was weird. Like just came over and like give him one of give
I
him
like a
two
wet
boys.
willy.
Well, that's what I was calling it, a dry Daryl, because that's like one you don't spit on. And then they all started calling it that. I'm like, that's just a name I made up. I just picked a
Yeah.
name. That's not a thing. But she was, wiggling his ear, and but they were having a good time because they come
Maybe
to
she
the
was
table.
flirting.
Well, maybe, yeah. Well, he was 5, so I don't know how that is in duck
Oh,
years, but it was
well, yeah,
uncomfortable.
that's right.
But then when we're talking to Mickey, Donald comes over and acts mad that Mickey's getting the attention and not him. It's that kind of like, it's a fun little show, and
Yeah,
the breakfast
absolutely.
is good, but I'm sure it wasn't worth the price.
Oh, I'm sure not.
We also ate at the Brown Derby, which I do not recommend as a parent to take your kids to the Brown Derby there. I think that's what we got tickets to Fantasmic. We got priority seating at the
Mhm.
show by eating at this restaurant, and it was part of that. And I just seeing it's all French kind of food and things that my children were just deeply upset about. Where's the chicken tendies? And I'm like, I agree. This
Yeah.
is not.
Yeah. Well, we when we went to Epcot, we were with some friends, and they're Disney adults, and they're pros. They know all the tricks and all the best places to go. And we went to the hibachi in Epcot.
Oh, it's amazing.
It is. It's really good. It's really good. It not worth the money for
Oh, yeah.
sure. I don't think anything food wise is worth the money at Disney, honestly. Maybe
Andy's
the
toy
pop,
box. I say Andy's toy box. Oh, the popcorn is a good.
yeah, the popcorn is a good. You
Get
get
that
the bucket,
refill.
fill it. Yep. But it was the food was very good. And it was once again, for a kid with sensory processing, she does not like going to hibachis where they do the fire and all that. And they do not do the big flame at this one. So
No, I
they
had never
still
been.
do they still do some of the tricks and things like that, the little volcano and stuff like that, but no big flames, which my 4-year-old was in my lap the whole time just waiting for the shoe to drop, and it never did, and she was pleasantly surprised and then ate her noodles.
Well, that's good for her. We went there, and Lily was and she was 6 when we went, and I had never been to hibachi myself. So I was enjoying the show. She was just loving it, talking to the lady, and then did not realize that was her food. And that they were like, and here you go. And she was like, oh, I
Yeah.
thought this was the show. What is this food? But it was all really delicious. So,
It is very good.
well, I think I'm going to have to wrap this up in just a minute, but I wanted to bring up one more thing, and it's probably the real nail through my heart when you left to find out your affinity for the Goofy movie.
Oh my gosh, I watched that movie at least once a quarter, and I quote it. My one of my best friends, he bought us matching Lester's Possum Park T-shirts, and it is one of the greatest Disney creations. Maybe, and this is gonna be a big one. Maybe one of the best pieces of cinema ever produced.
I think you're underselling it there. I
Yeah,
loved
I
it when it came
love.
out.
Oh man,
The songs are good. The every bit of it is just, I thought it was perfect, and no one really cared. I mean, it wasn't a big deal when it came out. I had it on
no,
VHS, and then I bought it on digital. So we had a copy before it was, on Disney Plus.
yes,
And as a father, it's even more like poignant and touching, that he's reconnecting with the son, that, the little hi dad soup and all. And it's heartbreaking, and it's
it is.
generational. It's amazing.
So a few years ago, my sister, because she loved it just as much as I did, and we didn't have a ton of money growing up, so my mom would buy us, the big Disney movies, but the other ones, it was like, well, we really can't afford that. So I had it record it. Like I recorded it on a VHS tape
Nice.
on the Disney Channel and like, timed it up with the commercials and all that. And so my sister, she showed it to her kids when Disney Plus first came out, and she sent me a text and she said, "I think I need new children. My kids aren't into the Goofy movie." And I was like, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And my kids, I'm fortunate, they love it and will walk around the house singing Lester's Possum Park all the time.
It got a "this is fine" shrug from Addie, and I thought I'm not even showing to Lily because I still want to love one of my children, and I can't.
That's correct. Yes.
What is
Yeah.
wrong with you? You have no
It is.
soul.
It is I'll put you up for an adoption offense in my eyes.
Yeah,
So.
if she's lucky that she's just not out on the curb with the trash.
That's
Oh my
right.
gosh. It is a timeless classic, and I will fight anybody to this day. It's got like a real resurgence. It feels like with just people just a little bit younger than you that grew up with it.
Well, and I know that like Max shows up in his Powerline outfit
that's pretty great.
at Hollywood Studios, and it's like, oh, I didn't get to see him. My buddy did, but
we saw it online.
Oh man, I'd go up and start singing "Eye to Eye" because that's a great song.
I made him listen to the soundtrack on the drive down. I was like, guys, this is part of what we're just doing it, and you can choose to play your Switch and keep it to yourself. But
that's right.
Dad's playing it, and shut up. So
I did think though that there is the one scene when they're doing the On the Open Road song where the hearse pulls up and the decaying corpse comes out of the coffin. I loved it because I was like, oh, that's hilarious. For younger children, it might be a little much.
Yeah, well, Addie gets real. She can't believe things like that. We've been watching The Simpsons on Disney Plus, and I made her watch Frank Grimes' episode yesterday where he dies at the end, and she just silence. Like, what? This is it's funny because he's dead.
Yeah,
and he got called crying again, and so kids, girls, just pitiful. But
that's right.
Well, man, I appreciate you coming on here, and
absolutely,
it was great to catch up.
Yeah, man, I miss you guys.
Well, I miss you a lot too, and I'm going to actually give you a quick call when this is over. I know you get to work in just a minute, and I hope that it's not long until we chat again. So
I hope not either.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right. You too.